I could show it to you, lots of it, and I can tell you lots.
People can be educated and still be entertained.
Walt Disney presents.
All right, so that was The Jungle Book. Chazie, Robert, final impressions.
Detective Pikachu was better. I'm sorry about it. Detective Pikachu was a stronger film, and I gave that a 6.8 out of 10.
I, as an individual, tend to try to let movies stand on their own. And I didn't hate it. Purely entertainment value. I like where we have come as a society with CG. I do think there's times where I could tell the difference. But, you know, you take the good, you take the bad.
Give the facts of life.
You do have the facts of life,
Yeah.
and apparently The Jungle Book. So, I would say I would give that movie 1.25 thumb up.
1.25
So
thumbs.
Not quite two. Yeah.
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 But Ben
Like a
Kingsley,
constipated quarter.
as Bagheera, he held up, because Bagheera is my favorite part of both films.
Yeah.
And he held up that level of sex appeal that Bagheera contains. You know,
He's got a lot of
inherently
dignity as a character.
Gay dadness. Yeah.
Something that I think the original had that was very unique was that kind of jazzy feel to it. Like everyone had that kind of like jive lingo, like yeah man, that I think kind of gave it its own flavor.
Informed it.
We lost all that kind of style and flavor.
There was no charm.
Yeah. So it saw itself as this big epic.
Yeah.
And in some ways, like, it worked, but then when you bring in Christopher Walken singing this totally different, this huge left turn for that scene, like, that makes no sense
Even
at all.
throwing, like, pigeonholing bare necessities in, like, almost an hour into the film feels so weird.
With, like, maybe a verse.
Yeah. It was
And you know, I think part of what that decision had more to do with, as a live action movie, the things you do with animation and the pieces that you pull in. And it's what's weird is that the fact that the 90% of the movie is CG, so it was an animated movie.
Right.
And in the end, it was an animated movie. They could have done all of that stuff, but
Yeah.
to try to make it live action. I don't know why live action musicals versus animated musicals, it's like you don't ever get, I feel like, the same feel. You know? And it's like they didn't translate that in, like you know, the jazz. All of the jazz in the original is very much like how
the
the
comedy.
theme of
a lot of comedy
we were
too.
talking about earlier. How it's like it didn't really have like a feel musically throughout the whole thing.
Yes.
Throwing in these songs didn't really seem to fit because it wasn't, you know,
the vibe.
there was no tissue to bring it all together, in my opinion.
The Mary Zimmerman piece, way stronger. If anyone, I recommend looking that up. That contains all of the stuff we're talking about. It has the same music and the same appeal and the stage kind of fun and campiness. And they kept the elephant song. Like, how are you going to cut out the Hup to focus?
The Elephants on Patrol, So now having seen this movie, with Lion King right around the corner by the time this comes out, what do you guys think The Lion King is going to be like?
I hope Beyonce gets Shadowland. That's all I'm hoping.
I think that as iconic as The Lion King is, it's like, though The Jungle Book is you know, a very, you know, strong staple in Disney's, you know, repertoire. I think The Lion King is one of those, you know, top 1%.
Yep.
And I think that the treatment that it's going to get, especially seeing that it's been the animated movie and the original movie, then they had the Broadway show. Now they're having, you know, it's like, I think it's going to get the treatment that it needs for it to be successful. And you know, I think they're going to, I think it's going to be more like what they did with Hairspray. How Hairspray was a movie that became a musical, and it was like once they made it a musical, then it kind of changed. This was, you know, it was like the original was a musical, and then they made it more of a musical when they brought it to the stage.
Right.
And I think that they're going to put that back into, you know, when they're making the live action version. I think they're going to just combine the two.
And I truly think this was a test. Like, this was a precursor so that they could do the things you're talking about. Because you're right. I don't think they're going to mess with, like, they can't afford to mess with the
because
Lion King.
it's too, you know, it's.
I just worried that this is tonally so much more serious that they're gonna try and do the same thing with Lion King, where like there are very serious moments, but also like you have fucking Timon and Pumbaa. Like you can't, you like tonally you can't have this like super serious thing and then these like Shakespearean.
Well, and the medium of animation is about suspension of disbelief because you can do whatever you want with it, even when it's rooted in a realistic like animal. They're talking animals, but like CG is so rooted in the opposite. CG is often rooted in the premise of we want it to look as real as possible.
And it's supposed to be a real situation, and this is how things would act, and it's like
it's like girl, they're talking animals,
and as soon as you start throwing all of the pieces of suspension of disbelief that we're supposed to have, that it easily is able to with animated things, and then you put that into a live action, you're like, well, I mean, yes, but the drama seems heavier, the comedy has to land so much differently. The same jokes when you do it animated versus live action, they just don't feel the same. I think that's a lot of what ends up in this movie that didn't work, in my opinion, was that
it's harder on the voice actors too, because like in CG, when you have this realistic face of a wolf or a monkey or a bear, they can't make these silly faces or these more fun, appealing kind of the charm that the voice actors brought. Say we were talking about Sterling Holloway. Like think of the Cheshire Cat and how expressive, and even Kaa, how expressive and fun he was in the original Jungle Book. Whereas here, it was all just like, even with Bill Murray, like it was such a bare face the whole time, and just like.
I wonder, is it the same process? My understanding of the process of animated movies is they record all the voices and then they do all the animation afterwards. Is it the same?
It depends on the movie or the studio too.
Because they have a lot of it done and then they kind of make the faces, like alter them to the voice actors. But a lot of it is already done.
I know that Pixar, for a while, I don't know if they still do it, but they would animate first, and the actors would have to match their voice to what the animators did. But a lot of other Disney movies or just anime movies in general will have the voice actors record first and then animate on top of that. Like they had to do that with Robin Williams because he was so all over the place and he tried different things that they had to match whatever his jokes or bits were in the animation stage.
Which is why that may not have translated well in the most recent remake. Sorry, not sorry.
Gasp intended.
I'm not sorry.
I just hope we don't have any I want to be like you moments in Lion King, and then I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
Well, the songs in Lion King are so
beautiful,
big and beautiful, and like I just can't wait to be king. Like, how are you going to do that same level of charm and animation and beauty and color with CG realism? But I'm sure they will. I'm sure, like you said, they're not gonna let Lion King do that.
This was the one that let them. Lion King took them into so many other categories and so many other kind of demographics. I don't think that they're
I'll bet you it'll be good.
They're usually really good with staying on brand, and I think that Lion King is. Lion King is as much Disney as we see the castle, and it's like, it's like I said, it's part of that 1% of Disney things that that happen. People are like, oh yeah, that's Disney. Like even when people grew up and they were like, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? People are like, oh, the Lion King.
Lion King, that's like always a number one.
Rafiki, oh I know her.
As long as Beyonce gets Shadowland, I swear, please let her get that song.
I know. We'll just have to find out, and you'll see a quick review from Live Action Disney with Chase and Becca after we see it. Ooh. Before we wrap up, Robert Chazie, anything you want to plug really quick before we close out?
Listen, if you got $300, no, but I have an Instagram at Chazie Bly. Website's the same. I also work on a new show called. I do at www.chaziebly.com. She needs to be updated, so hang on, wait till this video. By then it'll be good.
I never did the website.
She's cute. I take care of her. Ooh, thank you.
I'll subscribe. Can you do that on the website?
And at Bad Taste Chicago is a show I work on that Robert has been a part of too.
Fantastic.
So yeah, come check us out.
I will be in a show that is being written currently, a parody of The Facts of Life, which will be coming later this year from Handbag Productions as well. You can check me out on Instagram at Robert the Actor. because I thought that was easy to remember for me. So, you know, there's not a whole lot of stuff there. Just my smile.
Oh,
come on, say hi, feel free, leave a
all of
comment.
that.
I will hopefully be starting to do more, posting more. You know, I'm getting into that whole social media thing.
You're doing good. And Robert and I were just in a short film that might be coming to your city if it gets to more festivals.
Submitted to some film festivals. So
it's called
yes, it's called.
Directed by Sydney O'Hare. It's fabulous. It's funny. It's us doing our best life.
Yes, it is a parody of the 2008 Yo Play commercial, if you remember, with the bridesmaids. And we are not bridesmaids. You know, I was the bride. No. Spoiler alert. No, but it was a great time and it was wonderful. And we shout out to Sydney. You rock. Thank you so much for having us be part of that project as well. Chazie and Becca, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for coming on. This was so much fun.
All of their info is going to be in the description box below, so like click those links, y'all.
Yeah.
Click and subscribe.
Follow us.
So you can watch more of these awesome awesome videos and there are awesome reviews of these wonderful.
Yeah, seriously, these two have been working so hard on this, and I love the content, the amount of content that you guys are pushing out. So and this was
Thank
fun.
you so much. Good. We're glad to have you on.
Yes.
Anyway, this has been Live Action Disney with Chase and Becca. I'm Chase.
And Becca.
I'm Robert.
I'm Chazie.
Okay, bye.
Bye.